don't know why, but it has something to do with bees. Totally sensible thing to say to your husband. Oh, and we need to hire more security. And we did. We hired more security that very week.
Fearmonger. I know, Jason.
I feel bad for her. I'm feeling bad for Candace because at this point, her tourism into conspiracy land has really affected her negatively.
She doesn't know, but she knows. I don't know how that exactly works, but she seems to think that it does work for her. So therefore everyone has to go along with it, even though she doesn't know jack all.
And I just sort of went, okay, that's weird. I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, and I'm going to show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going, like literally bees. In a way that's the only way I can describe it to you is like they were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded. And I'm going, am I going crazy? Or do you think that all these people are really actually, quote unquote, bee farmers or saying that they farm bees? What is this lingo that I'm not understanding? I was told, and I sensed instantly that there was like a hive of people that were involved in this. I just knew it. And when it happened, I just went, oh my goodness. And my gut is telling me that this was the thing, that the dread that I sensed that was coming out of school. And I had no idea. I am not a flag person at all. And then someone told me, and I was astonished that Utah recently, extraordinarily, did modernize their bee flag. I had no idea that the Utah state flag is a hexagonal beehive, right? And unbeknownst to me, that it has always been the beehive state. So in 2024, they modernized their flag, but they've always been known as the beehive state. And to be clear, it's not because they make honey. It's not because they have a high presence of bees. In fact, in terms of making honey or bee-related products, they rank number 24. It's actually the beehive state. It relates to the Mormon church, the Church of Latter-day Saints. Early Mormon pioneers founded that state, and they liked the idea of a beehive working toward a common good. Now, if that sounds vaguely familiar or communist to you, the idea of worker bees, yes, that's where it's from. I was just like totally freaked out. It's a Soviet symbol, like the idea of making everybody into a worker bee. So what's happening here? Well, I can tell you my suspicion. I think that this is a program. I do. I don't know, but I know. I don't know, but I know.
Crack candy crumbles. Candy, candy, candy. Has Candace Owens finally cracked the saga crumbles on? First, it was tunnel shooters, then bees, then hexagons in Utah. Now, Turning Point USA is somehow buzzing in the hive. But here's the real question. Is Candace Owens still the bee's knees? Or has the honey turned sour? In this final chapter of our Stuck on Candy series, we'll creep through the swarm of conspiracies, from underground whispers to full-blown hive mind theories. And this time, we're featuring fresh reactions from the Storybox and the J-Wit podcasts right here on YouTube. Because when candy crumbles, you've got to hear how other voices are buzzing about it too. Stop this madness. All right, here we go.
Happens in Christendom, emphasis on dumb, whenever a major event happens. Whenever a major event happens in Christendom, what tends to happen is out of the woodwork crawl all of these quote unquote prophets and prophetess and people who had a dream, people who knew this was going to happen. And they'll always come back after the fact and say, I knew that this was going to happen. The Lord showed me that this was going to happen because of X, Y, Z. My dog ran around the circle 4 times and I knew.
So he goes on and he gives a lot of analogies, fun metaphors as to what he's saying that, and what he's alluding to as he covers in this video is the fact that Candace Owens is dropping a lot of conspiracies, right? And we're not saying that she's crazy about everything, but whatever she may be right about, she's losing her credibility, so no one will take her seriously. And with that said, it does happen a lot, not just in Christendom, but religion as well. That, just recently I'm thinking about doing a piece on that, people swore the rapture was coming the 24th, I think. And, people were preparing for it. People were having stacks of Bibles in their homes for people after the rapture. People, please read the word and don't just rely on one translation. If you're reading the New International Version, the NIV, then you're reading a translation from 1966, right? So if you're reading King James Version, the published date on that is 1611. If you're reading the Geneva Bible, which is also known as the Ethiopian Bible, the published date for the first version of that one was 1560. So with that said, he's absolutely right about what he's saying, that, people come out. So if you had this information, or you had this feeling, or you felt like this was going to happen while Charlie Kirk's heart was still beating, why wouldn't you have come forth then? That would have been the appropriate time to come forward and share your feelings, not after the fact. And then let's think about timing. Let's think about, there are systems set in place for the justice system. As flawed as it may be, it's set in place. So there's a whole lot of stuff that we're going to be unpacking. So he's talking about the prophets, and let's continue on listening.
Slow her down just a little tad bit, because, man, I've been running fast after her. In this example right here, she is outright lying to you. I'm sorry. My name is Jason, dearwokec@gmail.com. She is telling you a story that is unverifiable. Got your little pad of paper over here. I need you to start writing down every time she tells you a story and she says, I'll bring you the evidence. I'll show you later. Don't worry about it. Trust me, bro. Call the book the Trust Me, Bro book. She does this
And you can probably find stuff on the Menect app. I've been asking people to come forth. Have you used the Menect app? Do you know someone who's used the Menect app? It's associated with Valuetainment and Patrick Bet-David. I do believe Patrick Bet-David may have called her out, but I haven't went that far down the rabbit hole, right? Simply because I'm hoping that she will calm down and stop this madness, but it doesn't seem like she's on track to stop anything anytime soon. Let's listen up.
Until about a week before, or actually, 10 days before Charlie got assassinated. And so I'm going to explain that to you, because you guys who watch this podcast might have realized something, that we took the show off air.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about 10 days before. 10 days before you took the show off air, you increased your security. Did you give Charlie a heads up that maybe he should do the same thing? If you truly had these feelings, this discernment, right? Why are you coming out now about it? What is that going to help anything? But let's let her continue babbling on.
Randomly for the first couple of days in September. So I will describe to you exactly what happened. There at first was a elementary school shooting that happened at a Catholic school, and I was just concerned in a way.
Okay, and let's see. You see how she does that, right? She says, I had this inkling. She's got to keep her audience hooked and all of that. So then she kind of pivots to a school shooting, and she's going to try to make that somehow connect into the events that led up to September the 10th, which was the day that Charlie Kirk was assassinated. So let's see where she goes with this and how she spins it. And we'll also hear what Jay Witt has to say about it, along with Jay Phantom with Storybox, and Jason is with the Jay Witt podcast.
I had never felt so impacted, and I was going, something isn't right. Something is just not right. And I felt that there was some sort of an infiltration that was happening at schools. And best way that I can describe it in a sentence is that I sensed that the danger wasn't stopping there, and that more was coming, and that I needed to take a look at just the process of hiring people at the school that my children were going to attend. And I did.
Okay, I got to stop right there.
Yeah, I do too, Jason. And I'm going to jump in real quick and just say, she's appealing to common folk, grassroots people. She would have you believe that, hey, I'm with you. We're struggling too. And if you don't know, she's worth $6 million, and her husband, George Farmer, is worth $250 million, right? So while she's taking money for these T-shirts that she's peddling because she's in a lawsuit, she's found herself in a lawsuit, and now she's taking money for her own investigation into the Charlie Kirk assassination. I will pose the question that I thought you kind of had to have licensing in order to collect money to conduct an investigation. I don't know the verbiage she's using to get away with this. I'm not sure. There's so much more. We're going to also hear from Brad Palumbo. It's an extra piece I'm going to put in the video that I came across this morning about her claims towards, her accusations, her flat out ridiculous, disgusting accusations toward TPUSA. And it's pretty shocking. It's pretty shocking the way she presents things to her viewers and her audience. And I'm thinking about probably, the people that are struggling to put food on their table, that are giving her this money in the hopes that she's going to solve some big whatever. And when she does, how are they going to reap the benefits of the, I don't know. Are they researching anything other than what Candace Owens is telling them? I'm not sure. So let's finish listening and let's listen to what Jason has to say.
So 10 days before Charlie's murder, he had this foreboding feeling. This is exactly line upon line some of those quote unquote Christian prophets that have come out after Charlie Kirk's death. The exact same thing.
Who could it be? Who could it be? I just can't imagine who. Could it be Satan?
She does go way out there.
By a teacher at the school, but someone who was adjacent to some teachers at the school gave me pause for concern. In fact, explicitly what it was a Polish underground symbol, like a Polish communist underground symbol that nobody would have recognized outside of people who know what it meant. And I just sort of went, okay, that's weird.
Yeah. Weird.
I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, and I'm going to show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going, Candace, what do you, like literally bees, in a way that's the only way I can describe it. She was like, they were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded. And I'm going, am I going crazy? Or do you think that all these people are
Let's process that for a second.
Really actually, quote unquote, bee farmers, or saying that they farm bees?
Now, John, I'm gonna have to put you in 0-second timeout. We don't ask those kind of questions of Candaspiracy. We just believe Candaspiracy. If this is the Trust Me Bro episode, we do not ask questions.
Yeah, so one of his viewers had posted a comment that he pinned that read, "What symbol is this?" And that's, he's talking about the hexagon. And Jason is like, we don't ask questions. We just listen to Canspiracy. So that's what he calls her, Canspiracy. And I think it's hilarious.
Because in a moment, I'm going to show you what I think she saw. And y'all tell me. Okay, so hold on tight. Okay, so yeah.
Okay, she continues on. She continues on this rant. So he goes through the flags. At first, he didn't see the hexagon, because you really kind of have to just look for it in order to see it, right? But I wanted to go on because he got some really great coverage in it. I have watched the original coverage. I want you to know.
We found a bulletin board with people talking about bees.
Yeah, he addressed
everybody on this channel.
The night before Charlie got assassinated,
So all of this is building up to it. Remember, I'm telling you, this is what those false prophets do in Christendom.
Immediately, and started the process, pulled our kids out of homeschooling and starting to interview people. But it wasn't enough. Like, despite hiring more security, despite taking my kids out of school, I still had a sense of dread. The Tuesday night, the night before Charlie got assassinated, So all of this is building up to it. Remember, I'm telling you, this is what those false prophets do in Christendom. They come out 2-3 days after the event and say, oh yes, the Lord told me. I knew this was going to happen. Now, granted, they didn't tell you beforehand. They knew nothing beforehand, but afterwards they got 2020 vision prophecies after the fact. This is ridiculous. So she done took her kids out of school because she found a bulletin board with people talking about bees.
I know, Jason.
I feel bad for her. I'm feeling bad for Candace because at this point, her tourism into conspiracy land has really affected her negatively. Like, this is not normal behavior. This is not the behavior of somebody who has a firm grip and a firm arms around reality. She literally said that something nefarious is going to happen, is dealing with bees at school because I ran across a bulletin board. By the way, we have no idea what the page was. We don't know what she saw. And in a moment, I'll show you what I think she saw, and you just let me know.
So what he's going to do is he's going to bring up the flags that she was talking about, the Utah state flags. And so, yes, one of them does have a hexagon symbol on it. It was the old flag. They recently changed it to a new flag. So he goes into all of that
immediately and started the process, pulled our kids out of homeschooling and starting to interview people. But it wasn't enough. Like, despite hiring more security.
And I want you guys to really listen to how she lets everybody know that, she's got the money to put, listen, we're in hard times right now. And her touting the fact that she's able to interview people and hire people just to come in for her kids. Most people don't live like that, right? So I don't understand how she's resonating with the grassroots regular people. And then she poor mouths to her viewers. Oh, poor pitiful her, the mean old French president and first lady are coming after her. Well, I dare say that she came on the attack first. Candace, you've had your scruff up, your fangs and claws out for quite some time. I think it's time you retract them, and no one feels sorry for you. If you had any inclination of any nefarious activities, why didn't you go to the proper authorities? And the sad thing is, the more you cry wolf, you have lost your credibility. Even the things that you bring up that people would consider plausible, maybe even pragmatic, you've destroyed your credibility. Let's keep going. Lord. Oh, I'm muted.
Hey, this is what those false prophets do in Christendom. They come out, 2-3 days after the event and say, oh, yes, the Lord told me. I knew this was going to happen. Now, granted, they didn't tell you beforehand. They knew nothing beforehand. But afterwards, they got 2020 vision prophecies. That seems weird to us.
And I'm not going to quote who said it because I don't remember, and maybe we'll hear them say it. But I heard someone say that she's leaning very close to Alex Jones. Well, why does that surprise you? I mean, almost a year ago, maybe not. It was before the election when Alex Jones was going through all that trouble that I don't even want to talk about because I think he's a serpent. But anyway, the way he went after the victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting victims' families was highly disgusting. Then Candace Owens has him on her show doing a fundraiser for him. Are you kidding me right now? It was not about free speech. It was about his relentless stalking of those families.
Their own little things and little nuances. How dare I go and say, oh, Geranium Club. Oh my gosh, Geranium. German. Oh my gosh, they are. Come on.
Stop this madness.
And they're digging holes too. They're putting. Stop it. This woman. Get some help. This is not normal behavior.
What the hell is even that?
Her, ladies and gentlemen, because she claims she is the arbiter of truth or the authority of truth, because what Candace Owens says must mean that it must go, right? Because she doesn't know, but she knows. I don't know how that exactly works, but she seems to think that it does work for her. So therefore, everyone has to go along with it, even though she doesn't know jack all. Now, what I've been seeing the last couple of weeks has been truly horrible. Truly something horrendous has been going on in this woman's brain. She seemed to think that she is pretty much taking over the Fed's investigation over the murder of Charlie Kirk. And she is pushing these dangerous lies and dangerous conspiracy theories. Every single day, I'm having to make a video. I don't want to have to make a video of Candace Owens and the next dumb thing she said.
And I will agree, this is the Storybox YouTube channel. Be sure you go and check his channel out. He's also on Twitter, the X platform. It's a really good channel. I've been following his Candace Owens series, and I highly agree with what he's saying. Her behavior has been reprehensible.
Are even crazier than she is, believe it or not. Like birds of a feather flock together and whatnot.
So right here, he's talking about her community, which I'm so glad people are speaking up more about that because she has a very vicious community.
Not only Candace is, but how crazy her fans are also getting. In fact, I think her fans are even crazier than she is, believe it or not. Like birds of a feather flock together and whatnot, right? So her fans are following a crazy dingbat like Candace Owens because she's saying very provocative things, because she's pushing lots of conspiracy theories, and her fans are going, I love this woman. She is speaking what is in my brain, and I can't actually say it on a large scale. But you know what? I'm going to follow her, and I'm going to flock with her, because they're all just as crazy and nuts as Candace is. Oh, here is something from today. So Candace doesn't know, but she knows, right? She will say that in this video. I don't know, but I know.
What the hell is even that?
I've got a gut feeling, guys, so I'm going to go with my gut. Well, your gut has been really wrong of late. A lot. So she wants to tell us that Charlie Kirk's assassin may have been groomed by an underground communist death cult centered around bees and beehives.
All right.
Anyway, have a watch of this.
And I did just a cursory online search, and some messages I found, which were not written by a teacher at the school, but someone who was adjacent to some teachers at the school.
What the hell
gave me pause for concern. In fact, explicitly what it was a Polish underground symbol, like a Polish communist underground symbol that nobody would have recognized outside of people who know what it meant. And I just sort of went, okay, that's weird. I kept looking online, and strangely, I'm not kidding, and I'm going to show you these messages. I came across what looked to me like a bunch of people talking about bees. You're going, okay, what do you, like literally bees. In a way that's the only way I can describe it to you is like they were speaking about bees, but they weren't speaking about bees. It was very coded. And I'm going, am I going crazy? Or do you think that all these people are really actually, quote unquote, bee farmers, or saying that they farm bees? What is this lingo that I'm not understanding? Why do I feel like it's related to students? I didn't feel good about it at all. And I just sensed that we needed to get more involved, to go to the school, to ask about the process of hiring, to see if they needed more security. They were kind of giving up me the thing that teachers do now when you ask any questions about what happens at the school, which is they make you think like, why do you want to know? Like, we just do whatever we want to do. It's like, I don't know. My children are like 5 and 4, actually. Parents should, of course, we need to be more involved. Like, how did we get here that we feel like we're crazy for asking questions about the hiring practices at schools? And the feeling just didn't go away. I can show you this actually, because I was thinking, like, I said to my husband, there is some weird underground, it's like I sense like imminent danger is coming. And for some reason, I feel like there is an underground that has emerged at schools, and it's like related to bees. That's what I said. And I messaged multiple people about this, my sister. Here are a couple of more text messages to other people. You can look at the time frame here. This is 8:30, August 30th. This is September 1st when we went off air. I was told, and I sensed instantly that there was like a hive of people that were involved in this. I just knew it. And when it happened, I just went, oh my goodness.
It makes sense, but it doesn't really when you think about it and you actually put it into perspective.
But you don't know, but I don't know, but I know.
There's a hive involved. But, well, who's that hive? Oh, why in the world would you go and blame Israel? So Israel is the hive. Oh, keeping in mind, she also went on the massive tangent of saying that there's this underground. She thinks that there was an underground person that shot Charlie from underground in a trapdoor. There's that. So no wonder.
And let's think about that. Let's examine it, right? So, I mean, from the trajectory, from where, and they did recover the bullet. And so if someone was underneath, like, that doesn't even make sense to me. And she's intimating that they were directly underneath. How would they have even taken the shot, right? They would have been noticed at some point. I mean, come on. And then the crack of the shot, if you talk to witnesses, how far, they made reports that, they didn't know if it was a firecracker or a gunshot. If people don't know what a true gunshot sounds like. So let's see what Jay has to say about it.
Candace Owens hasn't corroborated any of the evidence with the FBI or the feds, but she seemed to think that the mummy sleuths of the internet are right. They're the ones that know exactly what's going on the internet, and they should take over the Charlie Kirk investigation because she doesn't trust the feds. Oh, and the bees. Communist death cults run by bee leaders or bees. The Church of the Latter-day Saints, they're involved too because
I know,
for some
right?
reason the school has a flag with a beehive.
I cannot believe she threw. I mean, like, if it's not Catholic, then it ain't right.
There's a death cult that went after Charlie Kirk. You know, the death cult that went after Charlie Kirk, Candace, that brainwashed the actual killer happened to be the transgenderism. So if you want to look into that, by all
So, and now she's even intimating further crazy conspiracies, propagating, perpetuating that her life might be in danger, all the foolery and nonsense.
Stop it. Get some help.